Hola, from the west side. It is me, DC the Purple Diva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Thursday, y'all. Hey, uppity unicorn. I was in a really interesting fire chat. Shouts out to my girl JV Dessalines. For those of you who are listening to the replay of this, check out my community tab and you will be able to listen to the replay of the live that she did tonight. Y'all, I did watch the debate. I watched the debate. um, but I didn't watch it when it was on in real time because I needed to be able to skip through it. So shouts out to CNN's channel on YouTube because I watched the replay of it on there. But it was interesting. It wasn't a circus like it was the first time, but there were some laughable moments, y'all. I mean, there were some laughable moments. First of all, let's start with the fact that they had to mute the mics during tonight's debate so that the debate would be orderly. Let's start with that. And then when 45 was asked about Corona, the current situation that we're in, that the New England Medical Journal, along with, I don't know, medical experts around the world that have said that if we had, as a nation, had responded to COVID sooner than we did, that maybe as many as 150,000 people wouldn't have died. Let that marinate. Because I really want to understand why our country has the highest amount of COVID in the entire world. And according to 45, it's China's fault. Yes. Hey, Miss Pamela. Yeah. I the debate tonight. Now I will side note, I will give a shout out to Jill Biden. Jill Biden had a matching mask to her dress. I thought that was cute, considering she's the one who is not a former model like, you know, Mrs. Trump, who still is not feeling well and supposedly was not going to be there tonight, but she was there. Hmm. He probably made her come. I'm serious. He probably made her come because he's claiming that he's now immune to COVID, y'all, because of whatever they gave him when he was in the hospital. This fool thinks he's immune when they've already said that they don't even know if the people who got it before won't get it again. But this is the mentality of the person who is running our country. This man literally does not give a F about us. And I mean, he don't give a F about nobody. He doesn't give an F about anybody, including the people who voted him into office. So, they did talk about Obamacare or a national health care plan. And so when the question was put to 45 about what he had, since he wants to get rid of everything, what he had to replace it, for the people who would immediately no longer have health care. Do you know this man did not answer the question? He kept saying that he's already done it, by taking out the mandate part, and that he would just continue to work with what's going on if he had to. What the F are you talking about, Mr. Trump? Oh, let me cut myself down. I have to pause myself. Y'all know I be trying to pull myself up so that I can be in the chat too. Yeah, I don't want to pause it. I just don't want the volume to be so loud so y'all don't hear an echo in the background. So now we're good. Y'all smash that like button. Smash that like button, y'all. But I'm trying to come into the chat as DCThePurpleDiva. And y'all know because I am running my live stream playlists, all 300 and something of them, on my backup channel. Every time I try to come in under DC the Purple Diva in my chat, it won't let me. It keeps pushing me into the other channel. So I got to make it flip over to the right channel. I'm just laughing. But y'all, I've got like less than 600 watch hours to go. Speaking about watch hours. And so I have to say thank you to everybody that's been helping. Thank you, guys. I mean, I know I'm out here putting in, the time and putting out content every day. But you guys are the ones who are looking at that content, because I could put out all the content that I want, and if nobody looks at what I'm putting out, I'm not going to get no watch hours. So I appreciate people looking at them. And, for me, actually watching a lot of my old live streams, it's interesting because, I listen to the live streams that were before COVID. I listened to the live stream when Kobe died. I listened to when COVID happened, when we started, and, our country has gone through a whole bunch in the last 9 months. Let me just say that. We've gone through a lot. Hey, Blind Nito. Hey, sis. How are you? It's good to see you in the chat, sis. So, back to the debacle bait tonight. It wasn't a circus, but it was nonetheless crazy. So, when we got to the point of talking about national health care, now Mr. Biden did get up there and he did give some type of plan as to what he would do to improve that current situation. And it was all right, at least he had a plan. Mr. Trump had no plan. When they asked Mr. Trump about, the children the 525 or so children that are still separated from their families. I didn't even know that these kids still had not made it back to their families, that were trying to cross the border. What was being done about that? Nothing. He's saying that they're being taken excellent care of them. They're doing not a goddamn thing to get these poor children back to their parents. And then he has the audacity to say that it was cartel and thieves and thugs that brought these children into the country. What are you talking about, Mr. Trump? Find those children's parents and get them back to their. This is ridiculous. We're talking about, that means these kids have been here for the last couple of years, separated from their parents. They don't talk about that, though. They haven't even talked about that. I know I've been looking at your beautiful stuff, Blind Needle. You do some beautiful work, sis. Hey, Darren. So the debate was just crazy, y'all. It was crazy from the perspective that, to me, and this is just my opinion, Mr. Trump didn't answer any of the questions. Not one. And then he once again started playing the blame game. Um, he started talking all this, shifting the blame when we're talking about the fact that we still haven't seen his tax returns. Okay. Um, and then he started talking about money that Mr. Biden has made out, from the Ukraine and from other places. When we've seen Mr. Biden's tax returns, none of this is true. But we've seen none of your stuff. He couldn't answer the question about the fact that there apparently is some golf course that Trump has over in China. So now he's making money off of the Chinese while he's, made it very difficult for them to make money here. Go figure that. Go figure that one. And he was rambling on about some emails and some some bogus report. Now, I don't really know about what happened with Mr. Biden's younger son. And to be perfectly honest with you, that has absolutely nothing to do with the questions that were being asked. And I really wish that the president had not deflected and actually answered a goddamn question. Like, dude, do you not get that people are already voting? And many people are not waiting till November the 3rd. I'm certainly not. As soon as the polls open in the state of California, Saturday, I will be voting over the weekend. If I can help it, I'm going to be voting this weekend. The debate was very frustrating because it was another dodging game by 45. And once again, our country looks foolish on the international stage because, believe me, the world is looking at us. Now, thankfully, it wasn't the circus that it was the last time, because this time the moderators had the good sense to have the mics muted unless you were supposed to be talking. So we didn't have as much of the going back and forth and all of that. But once again, I got nothing from 45. And so can the people who follow this man and support this man. Explain to me why this man never, ever takes accountability. He claims he's taken full responsibility for what's going on with Corona, but then in the next breath he says that he's not to blame, China's to blame. Mr. Biden's not to blame, China's to blame. Okay, but China's not to blame for our country's handling of this. And then he tried to shift the blame back to when we had like one of the previous SARS, you know, that was during the Obama administration, that really and truly was more like a very, very bad flu, was not nearly as bad as this one. How can you even compare the two when we're talking about a global pandemic? This is global, dude. The previous things were mainly, they didn't become global things because they didn't spread around the world like wildfire. The debate was just very disappointing, you guys. Let me just say that. It was just disappointing all around. And when they got to talking about what that they could do for Black Americans, man, I think the best meme that was put out was the one where they put the meme out of Eddie Murphy in the back seat of the car with, the two brothers in Trading Places, where they were doing their experiment on him as a Black person, but they were really, racist in in all actuality. Yeah. So to me, that was the best meme to describe what went on up there. You know, everybody's promising that it's going to be better for us with them. We don't know that. I, and, 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 and to be perfectly honest with you, I need you to make it a better country for everybody. How about that? If you make it a better country for everybody, then you will, by default, make it a better country for me. Thank you, Blind Needle. Hey, Matt. I didn't see you come in. You snuck in. I guess I was running my mouth too. So they talked about climate change. And you guys, now I know that there are varying views about climate change. Um, Mr. Trump again accused Mr. Biden of being against fracking. And says he has a tape. So I look forward to hearing this tape because Mr. Biden is denying that he's against it. Clearly, they have very differing views on climate change. I don't understand why Mr. Trump doesn't believe that it's happening when it's clear that it's happening. Now, of course, we all know, and that people are manufacturing weather conditions. Nonetheless, outside of them manufacturing these weathering conditions with their weather making machines that we're not supposed to know about, in reality, we are stripping this world of its resources. And we are actually causing this climate change by us, you know, flipping, going and putting things up in the atmosphere as we please, orbiting the earth, so that we can be on our cell phones, so that we can have our internet. So I believe that there is some type of climate change. Now, do I think that if we don't do something in the next 5 to 10 years, um, it's death to generations? I don't think it's quite that extreme, but I do think that something needs to be done within the next, 25 years. Seriously, over a period of time. And I don't agree with all of the things that Mr. Trump has taken out of national policies. Because I'm sorry, when I came to California, the skies were brown. And my son didn't have to grow up in brown smog-filled skies. But when I came to this state, it was horrible, the air quality. So there are things that we're doing, with our our vehicles, with our gas fuel, that is causing issues. We can't deny that. I mean, we've done a lot in like a little bit over 100 years, because automobiles haven't been around for that long, but they've done a lot of damage to the ozone. But our president is, hey, JV. I didn't know you had finished. I gave you a shout out at the beginning, ma'am. Yeah, they're doing weather conditions. They're manufacturing weather. We all understand that, even though they think we're stupid and we don't understand that. But there is definitely some changes that are happening because of our industrial nations. The world used to be highly agricultural, and it no longer is. I mean, shoot. Most of us don't know how to grow stuff in the ground. They used to teach that in school. They don't teach that no more. And this president destroyed that beautiful vegetable garden that was at the White House, vanity. But as I walk through the debate tonight, you guys, I felt like nobody said anything to really change the way that I'm going to vote. Unfortunately, 45 has shown me even further, that he's not about this entire country. He's just not about us, you know. And he keeps saying how what a great job he's done, and he's done not a great job. He's done a very mediocre job. Now, granted, I'll give him, he's done a couple of things. There's a few things that he's done that, yeah, other presidents didn't do, you know. But then there's a lot of stuff that he undid. He just undid it. And I think that when it all is said and done, and if the only way that this man is going to leave this office is that he has to lose the electoral college and the popular vote by a landslide. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? And even then, he's probably going to claim voter fraud. So I know a lot of people, for that reason, are not going to use those mail-in ballots. Most of us are just going to take our butts to the polls so that he can't cry foul on our votes. We want to make sure our votes count. But I just beg you guys to please vote. Please, 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 please vote. Because I'm still hearing people who are just like, well, I don't like either one of them, so I'm not going to vote. What kind of craziness is that? Do y'all not understand what is really going on? I know the real solution is younger candidates. We've discussed this ad nauseum, that both of them are old as F, and we really need younger people. But that's for 4 years from now. Right now, we got to pick between these two old farts. Good for you, JV. I'm voting. Yeah, the polls don't officially open in California until Saturday, and those are only like the super centers. Thankfully for me, one of the super voting centers is right close to me, so we going to vote this weekend. But I tell people, don't wait till November the 3rd. Don't wait. Almost every state is putting in early voting. And when you're doing this early voting, please make sure that you're looking at your local issues and your state issues as well. Because I know a lot of us have a bunch of stuff that's going on in our states that's just as imperative for us as this national election. Like here in California, they're fighting over rent control. The governor says that the one that's on the ballot is not good. This is similar to the one that was on the ballot before. Every time we get something on our ballot about rent control, they put out a bunch of propaganda to scare the people into not voting for it. And they're doing the same thing now. And I'm really trying to study the issues in regards to that. We also have something on our state ballot in regards to rideshare. And I personally know that if they don't pass this proposition, California can probably say bye bye rideshare, see you, because the rideshare companies are not going to become W-2 companies. The crazy thing is that most of the drivers don't want to be W-2. They just want benefits. If they happen to be working, like, I don't know, 30 hours a week, which is generally where you start to get benefits. So I understand that part. And supposedly this proposition on the California ballot is supposed to do that. But, you've got a lot of stuff that's going against it. And the third important one in the state of California is that they're trying to put a proposition out there. It's called Proposition 15. Well, Proposition 15 is actually trying to derail the current property tax protection that we have. See, in California, your property taxes are based on what you paid for your property, and they never change from that unless your value goes down. This would allow them to raise property taxes on certain property owners. Some of the poor property owners who happen to be business owners. They're not million-dollar corporations. and they've owned these properties, but see, they're trying to take away those protections. See, those protections are on everyone, not just if you're residential. It's based on when you bought the property. And property taxes, property values are so high in California, people need every protection they can get, especially when it comes to property taxes. So they can hold on to the pieces of property that they do have. So when I'm telling you guys to vote, I'm not just talking about the presidential election. There are so many local things that people need to be voting on as well, because regardless of who's in, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, these things have to be taken care of as well. But I'm going to say what I've said before. The only way that we're going to really make any changes in who we see at the highest levels of government in this country is by making changes at the lowest levels of government in this country. Because how do you think these people usually get to those higher levels? Mr. Trump is a fluke, okay? He's a fluke as far as getting into the office of president. Because usually the person has held at least one political office. Now, it's not a requirement to become president, but I don't know, personally, just based on how he's been doing things, I think you need to have someone who does have some understanding of how government runs. Even if they want to run against the grain of the government, they still have to know how it runs. And he don't understand that part, y'all. He's trying to run the country like a company, which is, you can't do that. That's just my opinion. Now, do I think, am I sure that if Biden gets in there, that he will do a better job? Well, the one thing I know for sure is that he won't do a worse job. It won't be worse. Do I still have my issues with Kamala Harris? Absolutely. I personally think right now she's trying too hard to be black. But, hey, that's just my opinion. My opinion. You know, if you black, you black. You ain't got to keep proving to us that you black, girl. You know, I'm just saying. What you have to prove to us is that you're not against black people, because we don't see that. We think you are. At least you're against black men. But, she still hasn't really been called. She didn't really get called on the carpet much about that. She's been able to skate around that. But I guess if, you know, a Punani grabbing leader is in office, you know, when he said such a thing, then I guess, we can have a vice presidential person in there who has issues with the black community. I mean, it won't be the first time that someone is, you know, in one of those offices that has an issue with the black community. I mean, Mr. Pence doesn't really like us. So, hey, you know, we'll see. Maybe she's, you know, come to a revelation or something. Who went in stealing? Oh, you're talking about Miss 45. Yeah, well, it's going to be very interesting because, right now we're going we have communities that are starting to roll back into closing up stuff. Um, Chicago had opened up their bars and restaurants. Oh well, they're going to be closed again. No, they were able to have inside, you know, patronage. Not going to happen anymore. They're rolling it back because I told y'all last week that the Midwest was starting to spike in corona cases. You know, right when Mr. Trump was talking about how well everything was going. And he's still talking this craziness. He's still talking this madness. Talking about there's going to be a vaccine in 10 minutes. And really what I think is going to happen, the way he's talking, it's like he's going to get this vaccine. And what are you going to do? Are you going to force us to take a vaccine, Mr. Trump, if you are still in office? Yeah, I want to see you force grown people, because it's only 40% who said that they would take it. That's 40%. The other 60% of us are saying, hell no. We ain't taking nothing. I'm not taking a goddamn thing. I promise you. Joy Reid is trying to put, and friends are trying to push Kamala. Look, I have been very vocal about my issues with Miss Harris. Okay, I've been very vocal. I happen to be in the state where she was the attorney general, and I told you where she did a great deal of stuff in helping, to save people's houses and went in on the mortgage industry. But at the same time, throughout her career, when it came to prosecution of Black people, this woman was not for us. Not when she was in San Francisco, and not when she was at the state level. It is what it is. It would be nice if we had a strong third party. The third party that's out there, what is it, the Libertarian Party? They never have anyone who's strong enough that could ever even come close to getting into the White House. Period. Point blank. They don't even pay attention to them. So yeah, I would. It would be nice if we had four parties. How about if we had four choices? We shouldn't have two choices. That is not the way that this country was set up. It was not set up for it to be a two-party system. We have failed from that perspective. But the unfortunate thing is that every time other parties try to come together, it just doesn't work. And see, here's the issue. They can't just come together for the big party. You know what I mean? They need to have candidates running at every level, and if they're going to be seriously taken as a additional political party. That means at for the city council, there should be somebody from whatever the third party is. Governors, mayors, all of that. That's not happening. The only time you see these random third parties, and that's the way they appear to me, is when we're dealing with the presidential election. I mean, you have what is the Green Peace Party, Libertarian Party. None of them do you ever hear of any candidates in any of those parties for lower offices. I'm just saying. Because that's the only way we're going to have additional parties. Diddy making a black party. Diddy is making a black party. Well, we'll see. Because they tried to say that the Black Panthers were trying to be a political party, which is not what they were trying to be. They were also not terrorists. They were a community organization for the betterment of Black people. And it is so sad what they did to those educated Black men. I'm telling you, that is the scariest thing to them. An educated Black man. And those were educated Black men with PhDs. You better ask somebody. If you don't know that much about them, you better know that part. Men and women with PhDs. I know that. It does take a lot. It does take money. It I You're absolutely right. But the thing is, and that is what I'm talking about. That's why they have to start. If we're talking about all these different parties, they can't be starting as a national. They have to start as local and grow into national. Otherwise, we're gonna always be stuck with these two freaking parties. And then because I don't want to be part of either one of them, I'm nonpartisan. Because the alternatives of the Green Peace Party and the Libertarian Party, yeah, not into them either. I don't know what I do with it. I'll find it. Let me see what you guys are saying. Thank you, Blind Nito. Now, JV had a hot conversation earlier. She does good on those relationships conversations. I don't even know how that conversation went, where it went, but it went all the way to the real. It went all the way to the real. It went all the way. But it was on fire. Like I said, if you have not checked out JV Dessalines, that particular live is in my community tab. And you can go back and listen to the replay. You can listen to the replay. Yeah, here's the thing, you guys. I mean, our country politically is really jacked up. We're so jacked up politically, and it's not going to be fixed overnight. But one way we can change things is I don't know about you guys. I mean, hey, maybe 45 was a nice experiment for some people, but I don't think that the experiment is working. Okay, it's not working. This man cannot be trusted. I can't trust anything that comes out of this man's mouth. He's more he's more of a politician than some of the politicians. He lies, he lies, he lies, he lies, he lies, he lies. And for someone who claimed he was going to drain the swamp, he jumped right into the pool with the rest of them. And now it's just a bigger swamp. So I'm not asking anybody to go into the White House and clean up Washington. I'm asking someone to go into the White House and fix the image of the president. Have someone in there that the rest of the world doesn't look at crazy, so that our country is back in a place of honor and respect by the rest of the freaking world. The thing that this man cannot stand is that the 8 years that 44 was in office, we were honored and we were respected as a country. Hell, 44 won a Nobel Peace Prize. But maybe I digress. He's never going to be president again. I understand that. He's now a private citizen. But maybe Mr. Trump needs to go back to being a private citizen too, because this man has cost us so much money with him flying back and forth to his golfing. And he had the audacity to talk about 44 occasionally golfing. Even though you own the golf course where you've been going and golfing, you still made the country pay for everything. Oh, and did you guys hear how bad he talked about New York? He has abandoned his home state of New York. And he talked about New York, talking about how New York City is dying, that the soul is gone. Ugh. So he has transplanted his self back down to Florida. I guess now he's a Floridian. And I know y'all don't want him, JV. I'm glad he didn't come out here to Cali, though. I just want him out of my hometown right now. He talked bad about New York tonight. I was just like, dude, you really want to piss off the state of New York. I mean, you want to make sure they're really not going to vote for you. And even though he has, who is it? Who is it in there? Christie. Doesn't matter. Oh, you're in Oregon? I I know, man. He dogged out Portland too. He dogged out Portland, and he's making this about red and blue states. It's not about red and blue. It's about a freaking country. We're all Americans, dude. Now, some of us may not want to be Americans, but we are. We've made our peace with it. You know, you may have forced our ancestors to be here, but we're here now, damn it. You know, all 13% of us. You know, and truly, this is going to be a wild ride for the next couple of weeks leading up to the actual, election day. Because y'all know that today's debate just like came out of the sky. Because last week we didn't even know that there was going to be another presidential debate, and then suddenly they had it. Well, y'all know that there was already a football game going on tonight, and I don't know, because of the abbreviated season, the debate was not carried on all of the major networks. You know, Fox went ahead and played that football game because I think the football fans would have probably um, tried to string Mr. Trump up, even though it was a sorry football game because didn't nobody really care. Both of the teams, I'm sorry, my NFC East is so sorry. It's just like two losing teams were playing each other, and the sad part is that one of those losing teams with a losing record is going to probably make it to the playoffs. That's how sorry this season is in the NFC East. But okay, let me get off of that. I know that's the thing. They didn't really publicize this one like the other one. It just popped out of nowhere because at the beginning of the week we didn't know that there was going to be another presidential debate. Suddenly, somewhere between Monday and Thursday, they threw this thing together. And I think they did it because the first one was such a fiasco. It was such a fiasco. And considering the incumbent president, you know, according to the polls, is losing. Never believe the polls, y'all. They had to do another debate. It still was sad. And it still left you feeling like you've been cheated, you know? But in all actuality, let's think about it from this perspective. Mr. Biden is the candidate that Mr. Trump wanted to run against 4 years ago. And he will only, he feels that if he can beat Mr. Biden now, that will that will legitimize himself for him. But I don't think it's going to happen. I pray that it doesn't happen. I pray that it doesn't happen. But I know that, you know, those of us who believe in the Most High know for some reason he allowed that man to be in office for the last 4 years. I don't know who he was trying to teach a lesson, but I didn't need that lesson. That was not a lesson that I needed. Um, am I doing better now than I was doing 4 years ago? Let me think about that. No, I'm still underpaid. I'm still underpaid. I have still not gotten back what I had before. But it's coming. It's coming. You know, I still have a job. There's a lot of people who, during COVID-19, lost their jobs. I never lost my job. You know, thankfully, I was already working from home. But it's definitely, changed a lot of stuff. Like my son is right now bouncing off the walls. I will be extremely happy when he's able to get out there and be able to do something again in society safely. Obviously, I don't want him to be bringing COVID back into the house, but I also don't want him to have to sit around the house and not be doing anything all day either. That's not productive for him either. So, first Trump didn't want to debate. Exactly. I'm telling you, the debate tonight, y'all, and here's the thing. They weren't even really talking about it. It barely got any I mean, there was like no hoopla around it. That's the thing, you know. And but personally, I think this debate was more for Mr. Trump than it was for Mr. Biden. He did behave himself a lot better in this one than he did in the first one. Actually, they both behaved themselves a lot better in this one, to be honest. But he still didn't answer a damn question. Not one. Not one. That's my frustration with this man. He answered not a goddamn question. You know, I mean, both of them had their town halls in between. I listened to the stuff that was in those, you know, but not that I'm not a undecided voter, but I don't understand how he could make someone who was undecided pick him. That's what I'm thinking about. These mythical undecided voters out there, and I think these mythical undecided voters are people who are deciding whether they're going to vote or not. Because I think those of us who already know we're going to vote, already know who we're voting for. But it's maybe those people who are like, I don't even know if I want to vote. Y'all better get off that can vote. Because I'm telling you, if it comes back that we had a low voter turnout again for this, it's just going to be crazy to me, because that was the problem 4 years ago. We had a low voter turnout. Now we are in the middle of a freaking pandemic, which would be the perfect storm for a low voter turnout. But it appears that people are voting in record numbers. So please keep it up, y'all. Don't let the lines, if there is a long line where you are, discourage you. Please, please vote. Please exercise your right to vote. Because, you know, too many people fought for us to all have a right to vote. Period. Point blank. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to come on camera before I get out of here because I've been on here for an hour. Y'all know after an hour, I'm ready to, I have to get off because I can't really, I could talk for hours, but I'm not going to. So let me come on camera because y'all know David's over here with me because this is his cue. All right, let me push it out. There's David. He's waving at y'all. All right, sweetie. I love you too.
I love you too. Okay.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming through. I appreciate it so, so much. Yeah, he's always doing whatever he's doing. He sings a lot. He's got a nice baritone voice, you guys. A nice baritone voice. But I am going to get out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank God tomorrow is Friday. Anyway, until then, I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. All right, guys, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.